I think it is pretty safe to say that the current WWE product right now is the worst it has ever been, ever. I could sit here and blame Vince McMahon. I can sit here and blame Bruce Pritchard. I can sit here and blame both of them at the same time. I can sit here and blame anybody on Vince McMahon's creative team. It will do me no good. I know this firsthand. Monday Night Raw this week on Monday was terrible. And the terrible show that it was suffered the worst ratings of all time on Monday Night Raw. I don't need the McMahons to tell me that they're going to come out on Monday night and say changes are coming. Changes need to be made. I think you and I both know that changes are absolutely a top priority and are needed on Monday. And I'm not leaving SmackDown out of this equation either. And on Friday night as well. I will be going over today everything that should not be done as far as these changes go. Apparently, WWE now gets it. It took them all this time, all these episodes, all these years to finally get it that changes need to be made. Meanwhile, you and I both know I've been here every single Monday night pretty much saying that things need to change. Nobody cares. Nobody listens. We don't need the return of Brock Lesnar. We don't need the return of Charlotte Flair. We don't need anything like that, because those are temporary band-aids. We need real change. We need to start building for the future. We need consistency. We need Monday Night Raw to be the Monday Night Raw we know that it can be. Today, we're going to go over the one big thing that needs to happen as far as getting this product back on track for 2021 and what should not be done for Monday Night Raw. This is going to be one hell of an episode, man. This is episode 356 right here on Off the Scripts.
Delete this man.
What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. This is episode 356 for your TLC weekend, Saturday, December 19th, 2020. And today's story is one that makes me very happy for two specific reasons. Number one, it throws it right back in WWE's face that the product sucks. Because the fans aren't watching, and that's the only thing the WWE cares about. And number two, just to stroke my own ego, because everybody has one, it really justifies what I do week in and week out. And it justifies all the criticisms that you and I both have on a weekly basis. We all know that changes are absolutely needed. Changes that do not need to come in the form of whatever WWE has done in the past. We need to move forward. We need to start building for the future. We need to start implementing storylines that are going to genuinely interest everybody watching, that will be consistent, and we need to start making our pay-per-views feel special. We need logic on a week-to-week basis. I feel like whatever I'm going to say here in this show today, I've already said throughout 2020. But I feel like more now than ever before, the message needs to be heard. It really does. It's going to be one of those shows, folks. Strap yourselves in. Go grab a cold beverage. It's going to be a good one. It's always a good one on Off the Script. Holidays are coming up. I'm not particularly excited about the holidays, especially that New York City was dumped upon with 8 inches of snow, and my car is buried right now. And being that I drive a Ford Mustang, you all know that it's not a winter vehicle. So that bad boy is sitting right out there until all the snow melts, which I hope will be about in a week's time. But with the holidays coming up, man, I've been pushing the Patreon page, patreon.com/JD from NY206. Everybody that has signed up for the tiers, we already got the t-shirts in production. And we are going about this in a very easy way for everybody, which I will be unveiling soon as I find out more information on it. But it's going to be up to you guys. Size, t-shirt, color. It's going to be mailed right to you, so I don't have to do anything. But as far as Tier 2 goes, where you guys sign up and not only get the t-shirt, but the baseball bat beer mug with the Off the Script insignia logo on the front carved into the front of the mug. We've already started shipping them out. So everybody that has signed up for Tier 2 and all my long-time VIP patrons, you guys should already have them in your possession. If not, by Monday, the latest. We got cookies. We got other little perks for the holiday season. We got other little off-the-script perks as well. It is a great way to support the show, man. The only way to get the off-the-script mug and the t-shirt. The t-shirt is, are we live? Because that's my thing when I do my Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and pay-per-view live streams here on YouTube. Are we live is the catchphrase for the channel when we are live on YouTube. You guys are going to be getting that soon. But if you signed up for those Tier 2s and you're going to get the t-shirt and the mug, like I said, it's already been sent out. We got a bunch of stuff for the Patreon, man. So if you are interested in supporting the show for the holiday season, if you guys are interested in maybe getting something for yourself, if you're a girlfriend or a wife listening to the show and you want to get your husband something, think about the podcast. Makes a great gift, man. Those mugs are awesome. I actually have them on display behind me. I have used them for my own personal pleasure, drinking cold beverages out of them. They are fantastic, man. Patreon.com/JD from NY206 is the Patreon page. Go and check it out, man. Follow me on Twitter at JD from NY206, Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you guys follow me on social media. I would like to make a bigger presence for myself on social media, even though we are pretty damn good at the Twitter game. I want to up my Instagram game in 2021. So make sure you guys go over there and follow me on Instagram as well, JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. I really don't. We are dangerously close to 120,000 subscribers, which I do think we will hit with the TLC pay-per-view live stream on Sunday nights. Might as well get that out there. I will be live after TLC, going over the good, the bad, and what will probably be majority ugly on Sunday night. I think, just by my analytics, and I know my channel better than anybody, I think we will hit 120,000 subscribers at the end of that, hopefully before that. So if you guys have not subscribed, make sure you do that. You will not get an opinion like this anywhere else in the community. If you want real, if you want honest, if you want in your face, nothing held back, no filter type of opinion on the WWE product and AEW product as well, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. If you want your masks, if you want your t-shirts, the exclusive home for the masks is mouthmasker.com. That is mouthmasker.com/OTS. Go and get your black masks. You're going to need them. You're going to need them. If you want your t-shirts, exclusively the home of the Off the Script shop is Bonfire. Bonfire.com. Link for that will be down in the description below. If you want anything else as far as videos on the channel, links for all the playlists on the channel are linked down below. Follow me on Twitch. We do the video game thing on Twitch because I'm a big gamer myself. Twitch.tv/JD from New York. New York is not abbreviated. It is spelt out. We just hit 8,900 followers on Twitch, and we are now newly partnered as well, so I've been grinding on there. So if you're into that, go and follow me on there. On there about 3-4 days a week. Really good stuff over there. Love some Call of Duty, some Rage, some competitive atmosphere, man. I'm a very competitive individual. I hate losing. So if you guys love that and want to see some really great gameplay over there and honest gameplay, make sure you guys go and follow the Twitch stream on Twitch. And today's show is sponsored by, and sadly, this is their last weekend, man, so get them on in, The Ridge. Ridge.com/script. Save yourself 10% off and get that holiday gift for the 25th. This Christmas season, man, nothing makes a better gift than the Ridge wallet. They got knives, they got backpacks, you name it, man. Everything to streamline your life and make it a little bit easier. Ridge.com/script. You guys are going to use code SCRIPT at checkout for 10% off. Love you guys, man. Let's hit the news. We got a lot to go over. Some minor news here before we get into the big one, because I don't want to waste any time. It is a big one. It is really a major priority topic, and I want to spend a lot of time on it. But before we get into that, something that is definitely going to happen in WWE, we've talked about them potentially having fans. How many fans? We don't know. When are they going to allow fans? We don't know. We could all assume it would be at the Royal Rumble, being that they moved into Tropicana Field, which, by the way, makes absolutely no difference to the presentation of the show, because all the geeks in the community, they're moving into the Tropicana Field. Look, the Thunderdome is in the Tropicana Field now. Look, the state-of-the-art, award-winning, acclaimed Thunderdome, which netted a 1.5 rating on Monday night. Good on you. It ain't the fucking venue, okay? But this has been a common thing. When are we getting fans back at WWE shows? AEW has had fans for months now. NXT has fans, a small number of them, but they have fans inside the Capitol Wrestling Center. Monday Night Raw and SmackDown have yet to have live human beings at their shows. Doors have now opened for WWE and AEW to welcome more fans into their shows. Now, the Toronto Raptors NBA team have announced plans to welcome fans for their upcoming NBA season. Due to travel restrictions, they will be playing their games at Tampa's Amalie Arena, and the plan is for fewer than 3,200 seats to be made available for their preseason game and 3,800 seats for their regular season games. Now, they will seat fans in pods, similar to what AEW has been doing for their weekly Dynamite shows, and everyone over the age of 2 will be required to wear a mask. They also plan to make sure that there is physical distancing in the stands when people are moving about, and there will be health screenings for all guests as they enter the facility. Cashless payments will be implemented for food and beverage payments in the parking lot. This opens the door for AEW and WWE to do the same thing with their shows. AEW is already letting in up to 1,000 fans for their shows at Daly's Place on Wednesday night, with health and social distancing guidelines being followed. And it's no secret that Vince McMahon wants fans to attend the Royal Rumble in January and obviously leading into WrestleMania. Do not be surprised if fans are welcomed back to WWE shows within the next few weeks. Good. It's about fucking time. And we could ride this year out. We don't need to do it this year. But starting next year, as we get closer and closer to the Royal Rumble, man, I want live human beings in that arena. I want live human beings to attend no matter how much the number, because any number of fans right now will be better than the virtual geeks on the Thunderdome, doing their thing or whatever the fuck they're doing on the virtual screens, We don't need that. I, for one, am tired of seeing that. I think it actually sets a tone that, man, oh man, this is depressing. Man, oh man, I have to watch this show and there's no live audience and I gotta watch WWE have Kevin Dunn pipe in a taped audio log of a fake crowd and there's no emotion, there's no liveliness to this show at all. I, for one, am sick and tired of it. I can't wait for them to move on from this shit, and I can't wait to never think back to this year ever again when it comes to professional wrestling. The worst year ever. The worst year ever. Not only creatively, but the worst year ever. Period. Royal Rumble needs fans. WrestleMania undoubtedly will have fans. I do not think Vince McMahon's going into this without fans. Just for the simple fact that I want fans at the Royal Rumble, man. I don't want a taped audio log playing on the PA counting down from 10 with the Royal Rumble counter going off and then the buzzer going off. I want live human beings to feel that moment. I want them to emit their emotions during that moment. Anything else will be just another Royal Rumble event, just like everything else we've seen this year. I don't want to add the Royal Rumble on top of everything else we've seen with all these major shows in 2020. It's got to be different. For the sake of not feeling like everything else we've already been through, it's got to be different for 2021. That's all I will say on that, but that was in the news, and WWE is monitoring all of the other sports and their situations when it comes to live fans, and now the Toronto Raptors have announced plans to welcome fans and take these precautions for their new season. WWE officials reportedly get it after a record low Monday Night Raw rating. Big changes are now ahead via Vince McMahon. What those changes are, we don't know. The only changes that need to be made is Vince to relieve power, Bruce to be fired, and give half of the power on this show, because we know Vince McMahon's not going to relieve most of the power or all of the power. Got to give at least 50% of the power to Triple H while he leaves his team in charge of NXT on Wednesday nights. Triple H doesn't even feel like he's doing NXT any favors anymore, because when Triple H was solely in charge, NXT was the best promotion in all of North America. Now they're not. Now that belongs to AEW. Those are the changes that need to be made. Will they be made? No. No, I am no dummy. Vince McMahon's not going anywhere. Bruce Pritchard is not going anywhere. Bruce is more concerned, and I've said this time and time and time again, Bruce is more concerned about his own well-being and his own job security than making the show what it needs to be and worrying about getting the talent over. This guy will actively bury talent for the sake of burying talent because he don't like said talent for whatever reason. And he's more worried about job security than anything else. I've heard from people that listen to Bruce Pritchard's podcast with Conrad Thompson that it's nothing more than 3-hour ads. That's all it is. It's not even the same show anymore. He went from being the number one podcast show in all of pro wrestling to now being the direct reason for why WWE is the worst it's ever been creatively. I've listened to other people's opinions on this. I don't really give a shit. I know more than anybody else, I am leading the army in this war. I don't care what you think about Bruce Pritchard. I don't care what you think of Vince McMahon or the changes that need to be made on Monday night. More than likely, you don't know jack shit about this particular topic because I've been fighting this war for months, years about this particular topic. This is now coming to a head. It will, according to some, do no good if Bruce Pritchard is there because anybody else could be slotted into that role. It's Vince McMahon that has the power. Yes, you are correct. Yes, you are correct. Factually correct. It all goes through Vince McMahon. No matter who's there, Vince McMahon will make the ultimate decision. But my problem is, and this is what I always tell everybody, Bruce Pritchard is a yes man. He's a 30-year yes man for Vince McMahon. Why would you ever want a WWE creative world that has Vince McMahon and somebody who will yes him to death? I don't believe I have to go over this for everybody. Imagine. Now, the possibility of it is very slim, but the possibility of Vince McMahon residing in this bubble by himself. He has the option to maybe think for himself. I'm going to do this. And then he'll mull it over. And he'll sit around. Maybe he'll contemplate it for a little bit. Maybe, possibly, it's a small percentage, but possibly, he'll change his mind on something that might not be right and make it better. He might not want to push somebody, but make the ultimate decision in the end to push somebody that hasn't been pushed before. Maybe he'll see something a little bit different. Now imagine that world. Now imagine Vince McMahon being in a bubble with Bruce Pritchard, where Vince could possibly be thinking like that, but Bruce, because of job security, because of his own paycheck and his own well-being and not giving a shit about anybody else. Imagine a world where Vince McMahon could possibly be thinking something different, better. But then you got Bruce Pritchard coming along and say, no, Vince. The way it needs to be is this way, which is the typical Vince McMahon way. Yes, Vince, you are correct. Yes, Vince, this. Yes, Vince, that. Yes, Vince, please, may I suck your dick? Vince McMahon will never change. If he hears that he is correct on something, is Vince McMahon going to change? Is Vince McMahon going to alter those plans? No. Why would he? He got approval from his most powerful entity outside himself. He got his approval from the one man in which he seeks approval on everything. So then by that, nothing changes. Nothing will change. Wrestlers that we want to see in higher positions don't get an opportunity, etc., etc. We don't need somebody with the power of Bruce Pritchard that has worked for Vince McMahon for 30 years to have the type of power he has now there. Don't you think Monday Night Raw would be much better off, or Friday Night SmackDown would be much better off if somebody else was there? It could be anybody. The guy could still be a Vince McMahon cocksucker, but at least that guy won't have 30 years of experience behind him, and the possibility may be small where this guy may challenge Vince McMahon on something. Boss, I don't know if that's right, or boss, I don't know if this is factually correct, or if we should go with this storyline. I think we should push this guy over that guy, yada, yada, yada. That's why Paul Heyman fit into that role so beautifully. Because, yes, Paul Heyman was probably a Vince McMahon yes man, but Paul Heyman also had his own ideas. Bruce doesn't have his own ideas. Bruce's ideas are Vince McMahon's ideas. Bruce will run the show when Vince McMahon is ill and sick or can't make the show or has some other priority to go to. Bruce will book the show that Vince McMahon wants. Bruce will book the show with the Vince McMahon ideology of, I need to book this show for Bruce or Vince, and I can't book this show for the fans or anybody else that may be deserving of a push. That's the problem that I have here, okay? Now, we all know Bruce Pritchard is not doing a good job. We know Vince is not doing a good job. We know that the current product is the worst it's ever been. The TLC Go Home show on Monday night drew an average of 1.52 million viewers. That was down 12% from the week prior, which was a 1.737. Monday's show drew an all-time low in total viewership, a new all-time low in viewership for each hour, and a new all-time low in the key demographic. Had people telling me, oh, well, it was a very competitive Monday night football game on Monday. That has to be taken into consideration. Some people were telling me that there was fantasy sports leagues having some big thing going on. Whatever. all the excuses in the book, how many years has fantasy football existed? How many people have played fantasy football on Monday night? How many football games has WWE gone up against on ESPN or ABC or wherever the fuck they air on Monday night? Are we really going back to the football excuse? Are we really still using the football excuse in 2020? Are we still using the goddamn seasons as an excuse or the holidays as an excuse? Are we really doing that? I mean, why don't you look yourself in the mirror and say, man, oh man, I can't come up with a fucking logical thought to save my fucking life. Why the fuck am I even bothering having a discussion about this when I clearly know nothing? You know nothing. Stop making excuses and stop defending garbage, okay? Last year, WWE was not at a 1.5. Okay? At this current time last year, WWE was not at a 1.5. 2 years ago, around this same time, the McMahons came out on Monday night with Stephanie, Triple H, and Shane, and that show did a 2.3 rating. Where did all the fans go? Where did all the fans go? Anything but creative is what you're blaming the show on. Have you watched the show? It's everything else under the sun but Vince McMahon, but Bruce Pritchard, but the creative, right? You know nothing. If that is your excuse, either you are a complete idiot or you're defending garbage because some way, somehow you want to be in the good graces of WWE for whatever reason. I don't know. You're the active reason why the product sucks. If that is your mentality, making excuses. There are no more excuses in this bag of potato chips, my friend. There's no more excuses at the bottom of the cookie jar. There's not even a fucking crumb to be had. Not even a morsel to put on your tongue and maybe savor whatever the fucking cookie tasted like. There's nothing. Nothing. Get over yourself. Raw is dead. Changes need to be made. And I've been the one leading this fucking army for years now. And I love it. Love it. Furthermore, this is where it's really gonna fucking kick the WWE shills right in the nuts. Dynamite last week. Their episode drew a 0.45 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic, which beat every hour of this week's Raw in that same demo. Oh, well, JD, that was last week's show. Yes, the most recent episode, geek. 0.45 rating in the 18 to 49 demo, which beat every hour of Raw this week in that same demo. Now, PW Insider, as a little side note, because Monday Night Raw ended with a terrible segment with Drew McIntyre, The Miz, Morrison, and AJ Styles to sell the TLC match that they will have for the WWE title on Sunday. They report that there were numerous segments that ran long on Monday's episode, and WWE management was not happy about that. I wanted to throw that in there because not only were they not happy about that, when the ratings came out on Tuesday, they weren't happy about that either. I love it. In other Raw news, most of the script was finished well before they went on the air, and Vince McMahon did not rip up the script, as has been the case for many of the shows in recent months. So you mean to tell me they came prepared for this show and it still sucked? Then clearly you don't know what the fuck you're doing at that point. A WWE source told PW Insider that the show was written specifically for McMahon, and the writers are giving him what he wants. So if you enjoyed or hated the show, then McMahon is the person to give credit or blame to. There were specific segments moved around and rewriting of dialogue throughout the day. Always. That's the problem. The writers are writing for Vince McMahon. They're not writing for the talent. They're not writing for consistency. They're not writing for any specific reason but Vince McMahon. They're not writing for us. They should be writing for us. What about us? Is what I ask. The 18 to 49 demos So hour 1 at a 0.44. AEW beat that with a 0.45. Hour 2, a 0.41. AEW Dynamite beat that with a 0.45. Hour 3 did a 0.38. AEW beat that with a 0.45. Oh, man! I love it! Love it. Hour 1, 1.62. Hour 2, 1.51. Hour 3, 1.44. Awful. The type of show that we seen on Monday night, you would not be surprised that it garnered that rating. In an update, it was reported on Wrestling Observer Radio that the numbers were so low that it was a wake-up call for WWE in management. Dave Meltzer noted that everyone he knows in WWE were stunned at the numbers. Really, they were stunned. You know who wasn't stunned? You and I. I'm not stunned by the ratings. The show was abysmal. That's why it got the numbers that it got. It was also said that people in WWE got the message as well. WWE, Vince McMahon, now are looking for out-of-the-box ideas for Monday Night Raw after TLC. When was the last time Vince McMahon wanted out-of-the-box ideas? Remember that? Let's go back in the DeLorean. Let's go back into the time machine, man. The last time Vince McMahon wanted out-of-the-box ideas, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Ricochet, and Mr. Bleach himself, Aleister Black, because he spent nothing but 9 months in a broom closet. Those 4 guys got called up to the main roster without Triple H's knowledge, without Triple H's consent, without a simple phone call to let him know what was going on. So Vince McMahon opted for an out-of-the-box idea to get those guys on the show to inject youth and excitement because NXT was hot at that moment. They were the hottest they've ever been in that moment. So let me take from my son-in-law, who's doing so well down there, kill his brand by taking what he's worked so hard with, put it on my brand, and it's going to be the same. Ha-ha! Look at that! I can do what I want. I'm Vince McMahon. It don't work that way. It don't work that way. No build-up, no video package, no storyline. You just can't take 4 guys like that have been the main event of NXT and inject them into Monday Night Raw and expect people to just jump out of their seat with excitement. Doesn't work that way. That was the last time Vince McMahon wanted an out-of-the-box idea. Are we going to see more of the same come Monday night? Who's he going to pull up this week? What's going to happen this week? Are we going to see Velveteen Dream? Are we going to see Tommaso Ciampa again? Are we going to see Karrion Kross? Is WWE going to go the NXT route as far as out-of-the-box ideas? I don't think NXT can really handle that at the moment. They got their own issues to worry about, and they are right now struggling their way through injuries and getting people back on their brand on Wednesday night because you put them in a situation to battle AEW, a battle in which they will never win consistently. It's no secret that much of what was presented on Raw this past Monday was written for McMahon, but the blame for the declining ratings is being put on the creative staff. Anybody but Vince. We all know Vince is the main reason for this show, but Vince McMahon is always, in every which way, deflecting fucking any blame for himself. It's happened with Bischoff. It's happened with Paul Heyman. It's happened with Bruce Pritchard. And it's still happening with Bruce Pritchard. It happens on the investor calls as well. Always an excuse on there. Vince McMahon is always coming up with an excuse. Always. When something goes wrong, he's looking to point the finger of blame at anybody but himself. It will never happen. As long as you and I are both alive, breathing on this earth, Vince McMahon will never blame himself. That's why he always puts 3, 4, 5 different people of power in front of him because he wants a shield. Because it will never get back to him. Everybody else is always used as the fall guy. Now, we are told here at WrestlingNews.co that more than ever, people are walking on eggshells after the record low viewership, and there's been talk about scrapping some of the plans that were discussed for the build to the Royal Rumble. There's also some concern that if things do not turn around, then some people in creative could be let go. Some. How is this creative's fault? How is this creative's fault? You're going to blame 40 fucking writers? These people, they write a show. And I would love to see the type of show that they would actually be able to put on that isn't altered. 99% of it isn't altered, or 100% of it just completely ripped up and scrapped and changed because Vince McMahon wants to be funny or he wants to be adventurous. How many of these people actually write a good show? They show up to work and it's almost as if they don't even have a fucking job. Why do you even pay them? Now, the creative team, people are going to be let go. The creative team, folks, 40 writers, that's not the creative team. The creative team is Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard. That's it. There's nobody else. If there's one person that needs to be let go, it's fucking Bruce Pritchard. For reasons that I've gone over for 3 weeks now in a row. Earlier this week, WrestleVotes reported that the creative team was asked to make a list of underutilized stars that could shine if they were given the proper opportunity. Angel Garza is one of those people on the list that McMahon has said good things about in recent weeks, so he may be given a chance to prove that he can be a top star. We've seen Angel Garza on a couple of episodes of Raw. We've seen less of him lately because somebody must have forgotten about him, handing a red rose to somebody. The last time we seen him hand a red rose over to somebody, a female hand went and grabbed it. Rumors are speculating that this could be the return of Eva Marie. As long as she doesn't wrestle. I don't give a shit what she does. Now, there were many other names on this list. Angel Garza being one of them. Cesaro, Chad Gable, Carmella, and Peyton Royce. The creative team has made a list of underutilized stars, and those were the names. I could add a couple more to that. Ali, Aleister Black, Ricochet, just to name a few. It's interesting that Royce is on the list because Vince McMahon has expressed back in July that he felt that she could be a top single star, and that is the reason why the Iconics were broken up. Royce has not been pushed as a top star on Raw since the breakup of the Iconics. Chad Gable and Cesaro are other two names on this list that many wrestlers have praised for years, and the feeling on Garza is that he could be the next Latin superstar if more focus was put on him. Carmella was given a character makeover, and she's currently in a feud with Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Women's title. She has worked hard this year to improve her in-ring work. I have yet to see that, but so be it. Chad Gable and Cesaro. Chad Gable looked to be in a very good position a couple of years ago when the King of the Ring tournament was on SmackDown and Raw. I don't know why WWE felt that they needed to change Chad Gable. They had the Chad Gable gimmick and the Chad Gable character down. Your money was on him in that tournament exactly the way he was. Then Shorty G was born, and forget about it. The guy was a walking fucking meme. Cesaro, how the guy is not a world champion at this point, 3 times over. I really don't understand how creative can really get away with that and be happy with themselves. Oh, he doesn't have it, Vince McMahon says. What exactly is it? What exactly is it? Who has it right now on the main roster that Vince McMahon is pushing outside of Roman Reigns? Nobody. So why does Cesaro need to be left standing alone in a corner somewhere without a proper opportunity? He's been great in the roles that he's been given. With Shinsuke, not really my favorite. Sheamus and the team with Cesaro, the bar, was fucking great. I don't know why this guy isn't given a singles priority. Oh, he can't cut a promo. So what? Give him a mouthpiece. Give him a fucking mouthpiece. Can't cut a promo. So what? He's got everything else lined up and checked off in that fucking box. You worried about him not cutting a promo? Work around it. Somebody help him. Coach him. Get him ready. Work on his weaknesses. Why do we have to focus on the one weakness and negate and move away from all of his strengths? Shouldn't we be taking Cesaro and highlighting the things that he's good at? Highlighting his strengths? No, we're going to worry about the one weakness because we're a bunch of petty bitches on Monday night, right? Now, WrestleVotes also said that the record low numbers for Monday's Raw were not sitting well with WWE higher-ups. People in the company expected some reactionary decisions to be made, but no details were provided. Several months ago, the reactionary decision was made to release Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman as executive directors from their respective brands, when we all know it was Vince McMahon that was ruining the show. But like I said, Vince McMahon puts shields around him for people to be the full man. That's all that is. It will be interesting to see what WWE does with that message if they finally get it with these reactionary decisions looming, if there are any, moving forward. And if anything major happens at the TLC pay-per-view on Sunday, I will be letting you guys know on the pay-per-view. It's been expected that WWE Chairman and CEO Vince McMahon will react to the ratings in some sort of significant angle or reboot on Monday night, as he's done in the past, but he's not been in a situation where he likes to be on TV, he likes to be in front of the camera, and has not been the type of guy to want to make a change because there really isn't anything going on around the WWE that they really see the need to change because of said COVID-19. Now, before I get into all this shit, there are other stories here that I want to kind of talk about and get involved with this particular story because they all have something to do with what I'm discussing here. People in WWE have decided that some in NXT cannot be stars on the main roster. So this is going to be filed into the "We refuse to build future talent. We refuse to build for the future of the brand of Monday, of Friday, of WWE, because he's either too small or she doesn't look like Charlotte Flair. She hasn't had enough plastic surgery. She's not blonde, right? He's too small. He doesn't really have it. He's very green. He's very vanilla, yada, yada, yada. Whatever the excuse is, WWE will find some excuse to label on a Tommaso Ciampa or Johnny Gargano or an Adam Cole or a Roderick Strong or a Kyle O'Reilly or a Finn Balor, right? If they all look like Karrion Kross, forget about it. I mean, Road Dogg himself even said if Adam Cole looked like Karrion Kross, he'd be on the main roster and the Universal Champion by now. I mean, if that's the mentality that's in NXT, I say get rid of it. Get rid of it. We don't need that type of mentality anywhere in NXT and not in WWE. AEW is continuing with their momentum going into the new year. They got a lot to be very proud about. There are a lot of questions on NXT and what WWE can do to turn that brand around. The creative has definitely changed since they moved to the USA Network to compete with Dynamite. But there are other issues that are hurting the brand. Meltzer and Alvarez discussed this on Wrestling Observer Live, and Meltzer noted that some of the wrestlers will stay in NXT for a long time or forever because the feeling is that they can't be stars on the main roster. Meltzer said, and I quote, "There's a lot of issues at stake, and one of them is that I think what was hurt in NXT, or what has hurt NXT, is that before with NXT, you could watch NXT and you would get the guys and women that are really doing good, and you would get really excited for them to go to Raw, to go to SmackDown, and really make a difference. Now I think the mentality is that no one is ever going to make a difference because they are all going to get misused. So it's like, why bother to get behind anyone in NXT? Because it's either going to be Johnny Gargano, who is never going to leave no matter what, or no matter how great he is. He's never going to leave because they already have decided that a guy like Johnny Gargano can't be a star on the main roster, even though he's been a star in NXT and has had great matches for a very long time. Adam Cole has been in NXT forever and has been over forever. Really, it's been years. And these are guys that have been first-handed to Shawn Michaels, to be molded by Shawn Michaels, to be mentored and taught by Shawn Michaels, with Shawn Michaels coming out on WWE programming praising these two guys, in particular, Gargano and Adam Cole. And all because Shawn Michaels works for NXT, now his opinion is invalid? His opinion doesn't hold any weight anymore? How could you go out there and say this about Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole? Now, I know there are people that are not fans of them for some particular reasons. I think you're a fucking idiot. I think Adam Cole's a future main event guy, a future piece to the WWE in general, if they want him to be. He's that good. How could you take Shawn Michaels and his opinion and not really be serious about it? Shawn Michaels is probably the greatest professional wrestler of our lifetime, and you're not going to really take his word as gospel. You're not going to take who he's mentored and who he's taught firsthand and use that on the main roster. I find that to be incredibly fucking stupid. I really do. And I find that to be whoever is in the WWE right now working for Vince McMahon and on Vince McMahon's team, I honestly think they hate this business. They hate the WWE. They hate everything about it except the money that it's making them. A guy like that should be on the main roster and be a star. Brian James said it. Too bad Adam Cole doesn't look like Karrion Kross. I think that mentality right there is part of the problem. As much as Karrion Kross gets pushed and as much work as they do on his entrance, the fact is that Karrion Kross is not as over as Adam Cole. But in their mind, Karrion Kross is a potential star and Adam Cole is an NXT guy. That itself may be the answer that they were missing, because if this were AEW, they would probably not go with the mentality that Adam Cole cannot be a star on the main roster and Karrion Kross may or may not. This is not a knock on Kross. It's a knock on the mentality. Because he's got size, he can be a star, and because the other guy doesn't have size, he can't be a star. In 1985, that was correct, but the world has changed completely, and they are behind the times. Ryback also chimed in on this. Ryback actually called Vince McMahon an old cuck bitch while dragging Monday Night Raw in the dirt. Now, we all know Ryback is a complete fucking fool, and Ryback has said things in the past that have been very questionable. But Ryback's hatred for WWE at this point, whether it's genuine or not, I don't know. He may be lobbying himself for a AEW gig sometime next year. Who the fuck knows what this guy's mentality is? But he challenged Vince McMahon to fix things on Monday night. He says this, and I quote, "Watching Raw just doesn't feel like I'm watching the best or the biggest wrestling show or the biggest promotion anymore. The entire production lacks energy. Work on that at Vince McMahon, you old cuck bitch." And then he closes it out with a kissy face emoji. Folks, I said it in the beginning. I think you and I both know that changes need to be made. I came across an article from somebody who works for Sportskeeda. These people suck, number one. Don't even know why they're in the fucking business of writing about professional wrestling, because just like everybody else in the fucking community, this is the general consensus of said community. If I took all of the fucking shills and the geeks in the community who love to fucking not have their PR relationships fucked with, this would be their mentality. Came across this article, 5 ways to rebound after the record low ratings. Number 1, Roman Reigns shows up on WWE Raw with Jey Uso to challenge the New Day for the tag team championships. Because Roman Reigns is a tag team wrestler and Roman Reigns is not the Universal Champion right now. What about his brother Jimmy? Where would he fit into that equation? If you give Jey and Roman Reigns the tag team championships, what exactly does that do? What exactly does that solve? It goes to show you that if that decision was ever made, it would be a reactionary thing with no fucking logic or thought behind it, and the people running this show clearly don't know what the fuck they're doing. That is a terrible, terrible idea. It would not be a situation that would generate interest on WWE programming. First of all, the New Day may not even be tag team champions at the end of Sunday night, and you want to make the number one reason how to rebound Monday Night Raw after record low ratings is to do something tag team related? Who is there to be feuding with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso if they won the tag team titles? Who? There's no tag team division for them to thrive in. Number 2, Nikki Cross joins her WWE Raw colleague, Alexa Bliss, in the Firefly Funhouse. Yes, because Bray Wyatt is such a ratings draw on Monday night, right? What good would that do? That's going to get people interested in the show? I'm not saying that that is a bad idea, but that's not really one of the top 5 things I do to rebound Monday Night Raw after record low ratings. Bray Wyatt is dead. Bray Wyatt is finished. The gimmick is not where it should be, and it's not the same as when it was first introduced. In fact, Alexa Bliss is carrying this gimmick, and Alexa Bliss is the reason for Bray Wyatt's relevancy right now. She's the star of that duo, not The Fiend. What that would do for Monday Night Raw is exactly what number 1 would do for Monday Night Raw. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Brock Lesnar comes back to WWE to confront Drew McIntyre because when things are in the shithole, let's call the beast. Let's call Brock Lesnar. This is WWE's tried and true mentality. When things are in the fucking toilet, let's not change things drastically and have a mindset of building for the future. Let's call Brock Lesnar to come and save the day, which, out of his 25 dates, right? Most of which don't even happen on Monday night. You would be using Brock Lesnar like you always use Brock Lesnar in this situation, as a fucking Band-Aid. Let me call Johnson & Johnson. Maybe they have a more solid reason or a solid executional plan for Monday night. But that doesn't include Brock Lesnar. That is a gunshot fucking wound to the face, and you want to put a Band-Aid over it. Yeah, bro, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. Brock Lesnar comes back to WWE to confront Drew McIntyre. Why? Why? Because he's Brock Lesnar. Brock equals ratings. How many times are you going to use Brock Lesnar in the same way on Monday night? And why would you have him confront Drew McIntyre? What would be done in 2021 with him confronting Drew McIntyre that wasn't done in 2020? How are you going to tell a different story? How's it going to be a better story than what you told this year? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. That is not at all a reason or how to fix Monday Night Raw. A reason that is one of a logical mind. Charlotte Flair enters the Raw Women's Championship feud. I thought this was 5 ways to rebound. I didn't really think when I clicked on this article that Charlotte Flair was going to be there in a positive way as how to fix Monday Night Raw. If Charlotte Flair is on the show, she will actually be worse for the show. She will do nothing for the show. Will she be back in WWE? Absolutely. I foresee Charlotte being back on Sunday night, teaming with Asuka, winning the Women's Tag Team Championships. The last time we seen Charlotte Flair on Monday Night Raw, Who was she in a segment with? Who put her out injury-wise? It was Nia Jax. Who is Nia Jax to WWE? Oh, she's one half of the women's tag team champions with Shayna Baszler. What a great revenge plot for Charlotte Flair. Asuka picks Charlotte, and they win the tag team championships. Great. When did we see that last? When a singles champion was also tag team champ. Oh, that's right. It was Sasha and Bayley. Charlotte sat at home while Sasha and Bayley ran shit in WWE. Now she wants to do the same thing because that storyline is over. She figured, well, it worked for them. Why wouldn't it work for me? Because we love them and we don't like you. What they did was great. It was genuine. What you do, you ask for, and everybody bends over to give it to you. That would kill Monday Night Raw. And please, someone tell me, what would Charlotte Flair be doing in the Raw Women's division? She'd be winning championships. Man, they haven't missed a beat. Anything to add to that woman's unimpressive resume? And finally, Keithley goes heel on Raw, starts a feud with Drew McIntyre. We are already talking about how to fix Keithley. The guy hasn't even been there for 3 months yet. Normally, we start bringing up the perception of, oh, well, maybe we got to turn him heel. We got to turn him heel. Why? You've already run out of ideas for Keithley? I don't think Keithley has had one solid idea on Monday night. You're already talking about turning him heel. This guy was dead and buried before he even made his entrance on Monday night, and you already want to turn him heel. That is not going to fix Monday Night Raw. It's not going to fix Keithley. It's not going to fix Raw. It's not going to enhance Drew McIntyre's title reign in any which way at all. I don't know what that does for anybody. And it's not a viable way to rebound Monday Night Raw. Those are the ways that Sportskeeda has laid out. Those are the ways that they've come up with to fix Monday Night Raw. That is the general perception of the community, folks. When you start seeing people talk about this, how to fix Raw, bring back Lesnar, bring back Charlotte, these are not ways. These are negatives on top of negatives. How do we fix Monday Night Raw? I could sit here and tell you, get rid of Vince, get rid of Bruce. Vince has to relieve power. Get rid of Bruce. Get rid of Bruce. Get rid of Bruce. It's not going to happen. Do I think Bruce is going to eventually eat his own shit and going to get terminated? Yes. Yes. He's going to die on that hill in which he sits upon. You want to be fucking a dick sucker for Vince McMahon, it's going to come back and fuck you in the ass. Believe me. Believe me. Bruce will be next to go. When that time is, I don't know. Everybody that's been in that position has fell to the same fate. It's only a matter of time. I could sit here and tell you, get rid of them. It's not the answer. It's not the answer. I could sit here and tell you that Monday Night Raw is 3 hours. That's the problem. It is a problem. It is a problem. I would actually have, if I'm WWE, I would actually, and if I'm USA, it's not a one-sided affair here. If I'm WWE and I'm USA Network, I'm looking at something here and saying to myself, something ain't right. How do we fix this? Get rid of that 10 to 11 hour. It's got to go. It's got to go. I don't know how many people are in these higher up positions and sit there willingly knowing that that is a detriment to the show. At some point, your greed has to be in check. You got to let go of the greed. I don't know how much money WWE makes in ad revenue. I don't know how much money WWE is doing in that third hour. I don't know how much USA is paying them, whatever the fucking case may be. You got to get rid of it. It is killing the show. Absolutely killing the show. If that third hour wasn't a factor into the overall ratings, where would the ratings really be? A lot higher than they are right now. If that third hour did not exist, how many of these shows do you honestly feel would feel different? Instead of every 3-hour show operating with a minuscule roster. And it shouldn't be minuscule because look at how much talent they have on this show. It's minuscule to us because they fucking buried everybody. So when they put buried superstar on the show, they don't feel important. And we get the same formulaic, boring, stale feel that we usually get because WWE's put no effort into getting anybody over. If everybody was over and everybody felt exciting, maybe the 3 hours would feel a little bit different. But they don't. A 2-hour show is a lot easier to book than a 3-hour show. A 2-hour show every single week, more than likely you wouldn't get rinse and repeat every single week. You'd be able to try new things, give us fresh matchups, not have all these matchups happen every single week only to come back the next week in some weird fucking variation. Singles match leads to a tag team match, then we see a 6-man tag and a fucking 8-man tag. Singles fucking matches with tag teams because you got no fucking tag teams. 3 hours needs to be gone. USA needs to talk to WWE. WWE needs to talk to USA. 8 to 10 starting in January. That's what needs to happen. Get rid of the 3rd hour. Those are easy. I got cats hissing underneath me. If you guys see a video cut, hey, watch this. Hey, I'm working over here. I'm leaving it in. Not even editing it out. It is easy for me to say those things. The one thing that needs to happen that I know won't, because I've said it time and time and time again, the one thing that needs to happen and won't happen, because WWE, in their sick, twisted mentality, thinks that separate rosters is the way to go. I've advocated for the brand split. I've tried. I am at my fucking wit's end with this brand split. WWE doesn't give a shit about it, so why should I give a shit about it? Monday Night Raw is suffering for it, so why do we have to suffer any longer? SmackDown has suffered for it. Why do we have to suffer any longer? I have advocated for a brand split, but WWE has done nothing to make the brand split feel special. Nothing. We've seen interpromotional matches all year long. Survivor Series has meant nothing. WWE has not taken a King of the Ring concept or a Royal Rumble concept or a Survivor Series concept or any of these concepts and made it feel special. There's no brand warfare whatsoever. There's not one brand better than the other brand. Monday Night Raw doesn't give a shit about SmackDown. SmackDown doesn't give a shit about Monday Night Raw. Nobody gives a fuck. So why are we still under the concept of split brands? Why does Raw have their own roster? Why does SmackDown have their own roster? What's the point? Why do we have 2 world championships? Why do we need 2 tag team championships? Why do the women's tag team championships get to float and the men's don't? This is what I don't understand. I know. This is what I don't understand. Why do we have all these championships? Why do we have 2 mid-card championships that are highlighted on these shows that don't feel like championships? Why? The brand split needs to end. The brand split needs to die. Get rid of it. Vince McMahon wants out-of-the-box ideas. This is an out-of-the-box idea. The first episode of Raw in 2021 could be the last episode of Monday Night Raw to lead into the first episode of Monday Night Raw for 2020 leading into 2021. You come out on Monday night, and in some way, in between, Fox needs to get involved, USA Network needs to get involved, WWE needs to get involved. Everybody needs to be at the table and be willing to play here. Fox, I'm tired of this shit. They need their own brand, right? They want their own superstars. Raw wants their own superstars. USA and Fox, two different entities, whatever the fucking case may be. You're paying WWE the same amount for the same shitty product, and you ain't getting anything in return. It's time to move on from that. Oh, Fox didn't get this guy. They're upset. Oh, USA got them. They're laughing at Fox or whatever the case may be, and vice versa. Enough of this shit. Enough of it. They all got to be at the same table, and they have to come to the realization that this company needs to be whole once again. We are at a situation right now where it's dire that things need to change. We are at fucking DEFCON level fucking 10 with the WWE product. Vince comes out on Monday night, the last Monday Night Raw of 2020, and says the brand split is over. I am blowing everything up. Changes will be made, and the Royal Rumble is going to be the first pay-per-view where we have unification matches across the board. Tag team championships, singles championships, world title, women's championships, everything will be consolidated. Everything. That's where it needs to happen. Well, if it doesn't happen then, the next logical place for it to happen is after WrestleMania. Because that's where things just hit reset after WrestleMania. The rosters need to be whole again. SmackDown at 2 hours on Friday night. Monday at 2 hours on Monday night. Raw on Monday, 2 hours. Friday, SmackDown, 2 hours. Unification matches. There's no need for two tag team championships. Have all these tag teams float from back and forth. Same thing with the women's championships, flow back and forth. You can't have three teams in your entire WWE, one-on-one show and then two on the other. It doesn't work that way. And then you end up coming up with makeshift tag teams to fucking use in the tag team title situation, taking away from the singles role or the top of the card singles-wise. You're just shortening yourself on one end to fill a non-existent gap in another. Everything needs to be whole again. Everything. Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns, unify the fucking championships. Sami Zayn versus whoever, unify the fucking champion. Actually, keep both of those championships. Keep both of them. Unify the tag team championships. Unify the men's tag team championships. Unify the women's championship. Get rid of the women's tag team championship. You don't need it. Bring back the Cruiserweight Championship and have that be a floating championship. What the fuck has that done on 205 Live and on NXT? Nothing. Nothing. I went over this already. The pay-per-view schedule needs to be something that involves both brands. And I laid it out for everybody to understand very easily. Survivor Series, Raw versus SmackDown. You obviously wouldn't have that Raw versus SmackDown deal if everything is consolidated, but you could still use the Raw versus SmackDown theme if you want. You could put 5 guys in a situation on one side, 5 guys in a situation on the other. And you could use the same concept without there actually being a brand split. You can come up with a situation from the Survivor Series that leads into the TLC pay-per-view with the winning team getting a TLC ladder match. 5 guys fighting for the right to challenge for the WWE or Universal Championship, whatever the fucking championship will be called at that point, at the Royal Rumble. The winner of the Royal Rumble gets the shot at WrestleMania. The Royal Rumble leads to WrestleMania. Survivor Series leads to TLC. TLC leads to the Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble leads to the Elimination Chamber. The Elimination Chamber leads to WrestleMania. Then you got King of the Ring in the summer. King of the Ring leads to SummerSlam. The main event of SummerSlam will be the King of the Ring winner versus the world champion. Rinse and repeat. Got your Money in the Bank contract somewhere along the line in the year. Put that back at WrestleMania. Pay-per-views need to flow. Pay-per-views need to have meaning. Pay-per-views need to feel special again. You got to highlight things and make them important. Important enough for people to watch. Important enough to get talent over. important enough to give talent opportunity in which they've had none of. The brand split needs to die. I am tired of watching a Monday Night Raw that is headlined by the fucking Miz and John Morrison. Two comedy geeks who do absolutely nothing to make the show better. Every single week. Every week. Friday Night SmackDown, more of the same. If it's not Roman Reigns, the show sucks. Everybody feels the fucking same. And you use the same men and women every single week. How many times can I get excited about seeing the same faces every single week because you don't have enough in the division to showcase? That's the problem. That's the problem. I don't care what anybody else says. How do we fix Monday Night Raw? 2 hours? Yeah. Get rid of Bruce and Vince? Yeah. Or if anything, Bruce will leave power. Yeah, it's easy for me to say that. The way the show is shot, it sucks. It's boring. It's formulaic. It's stale. It just gives you that feel of, man, oh man, it's overproduced. There's nothing gritty about it. When it's not gritty and it comes off as overproduced, then it's going to come off disingenuous. It doesn't feel genuine. Why do you need to look state of the art? Oh my God, fucking this and that. It doesn't feel real. I want to watch a pro wrestling program where storylines matter most. I want to see the in-ring aspect about whatever's going on. Championships being defended. I want that grittiness. I want that fucking in-ring action. I want to feel and know two men and women are in the ring fighting. I don't get that. It's like I'm watching a fucking overproduced, big fucking budget movie. And it doesn't feel real. I just get this sense of fucking disappointment when I watch the show. Commentary is just overproduced to a point where Vince McMahon is, I know he's yelling at them in the fucking headset. Shilling this and shilling that and reiterating and repeating things to manipulate and brainwash the audience. There's no genuine feel. There's no genuine emotion on this show. And when fans were there, WWE did their best to silence fans, alter fans when they re-uploaded said segment to YouTube. That doesn't come across as people that care. That comes across as people wanting to push their own agenda for whatever reason because we don't necessarily agree with what they're presenting. That's not what I want to watch. That's not what I want to be a part of. Why was NXT praised when they were the best wrestling promotion in the entire world? Why? Consistent, character development, storylines, in-ring action, genuine commentary that made you feel a part of the action, that did not deviate away from what was being presented. I don't know how many fucking times I got to tell you, man, if you took the NXT model of 2018 and you did something with it, and you brought it to the main roster, how much different would these shows feel? The tag team division, even though it sucks now, and merging the divisions, you still wouldn't have enough tag teams. It would be a better solution than whatever's going on now. The women's divisions on Monday and Friday night individually are fucking terrible. Together, they would be awesome. More variety on these shows. We wouldn't have to watch Asuka and Lana every single week. We wouldn't have to watch Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax feud with Asuka and Lana every single week, and then a variety of singles matches to happen week after that, week after week after week. The Hurt Business and the New Day. So on and so forth. You'd have more variety at your fingertips. More options to make matches. And the best part of all is that when you don't see a certain superstar, that doesn't mean necessarily that they aren't being used or they're being buried or creative is nothing for them. You use who you use and you highlight who you highlight based on the importance of what's happening on the show. And if someone's left off, it's going to look less like creative doesn't have anything for them and more like, hey, not everybody can be on the show every single week. There needs to be some sort of order. Instead of this chaos that we see every Monday night, a ranking system would be nice. A ranking system where things are easy to follow. You take the top 9 people outside the champion and put them in a top 10 ranking. You do a top 5 for the mid-card, a top 5 for the tag team. And you base your shows on this ranking system. Whether they follow it or not remains to be seen. But some sort of order to get everything in line. It would make the shows flow better. It would actually give you a clearer head on how to book and what to book on these shows moving forward, instead of going in blind. Folks, I don't have all the answers to this. I really don't. You know, I joke about seeing Monday Night Raw in the toilet, 1.5 rating, lowest ever. I don't want them to be like that. I take great pride and pleasure in what I do, and it justifies my stance on the product because everything I say weekly is being played out in these reports. I know I'm right. I know I've been right. I know my criticisms are just. But I want WWE to thrive because when they don't, everybody in my seat is actively affected. I don't want to see WWE die by the wayside. I don't want to see them creatively struggle. The reason why I rant, bitch, complain, and moan is because I care. I want to see change. And I will continue to spread that message, and I will continue to utter my sentiments until change is made. I see the talent that's on this show. I know without working there the frustration of said talents. I know. I know the ins and outs of WWE without working there. It's not that difficult to see. I have some sort of optimism that things will change. I know where the shows and the product can be if they follow the right model. But the problem is they have people in these positions that care more about power than getting the show and the talents on said show over. That's a recipe for disaster. When you put one selfish individual in that position of power, it's not a recipe for success. Mixed in with what's already there, having the same showrunner for fucking 50 years, the same faces running the company year in and year out, leaving out fresh ideas and not willing to accept any new changes or new ideologies or new ideas. You're leaving them at the doorstep, ignoring everything new that comes your way because you're stuck in your own ways. How is that a recipe for success? Vince knows. Vince knows changes need to be made. I honestly want to believe Vince knew all this time changes needed to be made. But maybe he can't. Maybe he can't do anything about it because he's just poisoned. He's poisoned himself with his own ego. Being in that position of power, having that power and that stroke over so many people for so long, you develop an immunity to everything else around you. You don't care. You're selfish. The cries and the complaints of everybody else, they just roll off your fucking chest like it was just another day. The breaking of hearts every day, wrestler deaths, friends' deaths in the industry, they just roll off your chest like it was just another day. Vince, having that position of power, has developed him into a stone wall. He doesn't care. He doesn't care anymore. It's what he does and what he says, and if it's anything else, he doesn't want to hear it. I truly do believe at some point deep down, he knows that change needs to be made, but he just can't do it. Will change be made? I don't know. Will Monday Night Raw come Monday change? No, it's not. And whatever change happens on Monday will simply be reactionary. It'll be a Band-Aid, just like everything else. I'm telling you right now, if there's change on Monday or something's different or something's not the same like we usually see it, it's a reactionary decision that WWE should not be graded on. They should not be graded on something that now has fallen into their lap because of their own failures. I will not be looking at Monday as a new day moving forward. I will be looking at Monday as every other Monday. Like another boring filled 3 hours of Raw. The Monday Night Raws that I will be grading and be looking at are the Raws that happen a month after, 2 months after, 3 months after, going into Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, and WrestleMania. Those are the shows. If WWE wants to come out and do something different on Monday, great. They're just reacting to failing ratings. If they want to come out and put on a great show and give me consistency, logic, common sense, and get future stars over and start giving me new storylines with fresh ideas, then I'll be more willing to listen. But I know that's not going to be the case. I've advocated for the brand split. I've tried, and I've come up with every situation and solution to make the brand split matter and give the brand split importance. Today on this very show, I'm saying we need to end the brand split. If Monday Night Raw and SmackDown are to thrive moving forward, the brand split needs to end. Having these shows separated from one another, having these rosters split down the middle, having Monday Night Raw at 3 hours is actively killing the shows. Something needs to be done. If anybody out there cares about Monday Night Raw in its current state, then you know what needs to be done. Put your greed to the side and do what is best for business. Triple H always said, I do what's best for business. What's best for business here is fixing Monday Night Raw and putting the greed that you all have in that third hour and killing it. Killing it. If these things are not done, nothing will ever change on Monday night. Guys, it is that home stretch, and Christmas is just around the corner, and I know most of you are still struggling to find a gift. Just consider me Santa Claus, man. I present to you today's sponsor, The Ridge. Ridge.com/scripts. Now, I know you guys are looking for gifts for your father, for your grandpa, for your uncle, for your brother. If you're a wife or a girlfriend, you're looking for gifts for your husband or your boyfriend. Why are most people still using wallets designed in the 90s? And we are struggling to move on and up our wallet game. I don't really understand this. Old cards, old receipts, photos you don't remember even taking, hotel room keys, receipts, all this stuff that you save for absolutely no reason. I guarantee you that is all right now stuck in your wallet. I don't understand it. It's like the George Costanza wallet from that one episode of Seinfeld. The Ridge wallet is going to change all that, and it's going to change your perception on how you view wallets. It did that for me. It's light, it's sleek, it's industrial, it doesn't fold or awkwardly bulge in your back pocket, and like I said, it changed my entire perception of my wallet game. It holds up to 12 cards, plus room for cash. You got the money strap or the cash clip, so either one of them will do you good. There's over 30 colors and styles, including carbon fiber and burnt titanium. Now, I got the forged carbon myself. I have it right over here, man. Always on hand, right in front of me wherever I go, especially for the holiday season, shopping online. It's always near me. The forged carbon looks great. I've had this for about a year now, and it still looks like it's right out of the box. I really love it, but don't take my word for it, man. They got over 30,000 5-star reviews on Google alone. The durable materials means that each wallet comes with a lifetime warranty. You could own one of these things and own one wallet for the rest of your life. And the Ridge team is so confident that they'll let you test drive it for 45 days. If you don't like it, which I don't know why you won't, they will give you a full refund. And the most important thing about this, one of the best qualities in my honest opinion about the Ridge wallet, is that it has RFID blocking technology, so you will be safe from digital pickpockets. Your ID and all your card information is safe within the Ridge wallet, man. Ridge.com/script. Use code SCRIPT at checkout for 10% off and free worldwide, yes, worldwide shipping. Ridge.com/script. And I want to thank them for being such a great friend and a great sponsor this holiday season right here on Off the Script. Just quickly going over the Raw results from Monday. AJ Styles defeated Sheamus in what I thought was going to be a better match than what we got, but it was painfully boring. The Hurt Business defeated The New Day and Jeff Hardy. Lana defeated Nia Jax. Don't know what they're doing with Lana. Lana is not at the pay-per-view on Sunday night. In fact, they injured Lana, kayfabe, and they took her off of the pay-per-view for absolutely no reason. Lana is off the pay-per-view for absolutely no reason, and that was WWE's big payoff. Lana getting injured after she pinned Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax in 3 straight weeks. All that for nothing. And that's what I'm talking about the level of consistency on this show and the level of dissatisfaction from the viewing audience. When people watch something like that, they are not stupid to it anymore. That was their big payoff. Lana getting injured. John Morrison and The Miz defeated Keithley. Buried is Keithley. I don't like throwing that word around, but I will say it when it comes to Keithley. Buried. Absolutely buried. The Miz and John Morrison have had handicap matches before. I've seen a lot of people use the excuse, oh, but it was a 2-on-1 situation. And The Miz is a former WWE champion. Just completely blind to the fact that these guys are comedy geeks on Monday night. They want me to now take into consideration that The Miz is a former WWE champion and that these guys have not been buried in handicap matches before. Don't you think Keithley needs a win more than The Miz does? The Miz has been a loser with that briefcase for 2 straight months now. And his first big victory comes in the fact of Keithley. Comes in the way of Keithley. I don't really understand that. I don't know how anybody could justify this on Monday night. Buried. Vince McMahon wants more monsters in WWE as well. Keithley got sent down to the Performance Center with Otis and Omos to work on their in-ring ability. He wants more monsters, says Vince McMahon. Keithley came out on Monday. I don't know if you guys watched because I don't know who is with a 1.5 rating. Keithley came out. He looked constipated. He looked very forced, very angry, very mean. I mean, I'd be fucking angry too if I'm being buried by The Miz and John Morrison, who are the 2 biggest class clowns, geeks in the WWE as of late. Very forced. Anything but limitless is Keithley. Awful. I don't believe how they fucked this guy up. I really don't. Mace defeated Ricochet. Here's another fucking situation. You see Dustin Rhodes on AEW Dynamite, and I don't want to use an AEW storyline to compare to WWE because then you got the fucking geeks and the shills who are going to say, oh, well, look at JD on Tony Khan's payroll. AEW shill. The thing is, Dustin is probably going to beat most of the Dark Order, right? He's already beaten one member. I believe he's beaten number 10 of the Dark Order, Vance. And now he's got Evil Uno on Wednesday night. That'll probably go to John Silver and then Brody Lee or whatever the case may be. The Rhodes family and the Dark Order storyline is not over yet. So he's going to acquire victories by getting to what he wants, running his way through the Dark Order. Ricochet apparently is running his way through Retribution, but in this case, he's not winning any matches. He's not winning any matches at all. He's already lost to Slapdick on Monday night. Now we lost to Mace. All while we get this big match of Ricochet and Ali. At what point that match happens, I don't know. When, where, I don't know. Is Ricochet still at the WWE at that point? I hope to God not. But Ricochet is losing to Retribution. And I don't know what's worse, Ricochet's WWE main roster run or Retribution. It looks to me like Retribution, and joining Retribution may be his only saving grace here. Can you imagine being in Retribution? Can you imagine being in Retribution being the highlight of your main roster run in WWE for Ricochet? Unreal. Absolutely unreal how they let this guy, another one of these guys that should be a megastar on this platform and is just like everybody else. A loser. An absolute loser. Dana Brooke defeated Shayna Baszler via disqualification. I don't know why we are reading results where Dana Brooke defeated anybody. Dana Brooke defeated a plate of chicken, mashed potatoes, and asparagus in catering is the only thing I should be reading. And Matt Riddle defeated MVP in 1 minute. Monday Night Raw, as you guys saw, if you watched. Monday Night Raw, if you heard, sucked. Speaking of Matt Riddle is liked by Vince McMahon. Talked about this, I believe, on Monday briefly. I didn't really read the news article. But Dave Meltzer last week on the Wrestling Observer Live elaborated on Vince McMahon's thoughts on Matt Riddle. Meltzer says, and I quote, so Vince doesn't understand Matt Riddle's gimmick, the bro thing or anything. But Vince thinks that Matt Riddle is very funny in his own weird way. So Vince likes the guy. I don't know that he wants to push him to a main event level, but he likes the guy enough doing stuff on TV. Vince probably never saw Fast Times at Ridgemont High and doesn't like that he's doing a 40-year-old character, you know, Jeff Spicoli from that movie, and probably thinks that this is really unique and funny and everything like that. And so he wants this character on TV. He really likes Matt Riddle. So the fact that Vince McMahon really likes Matt Riddle is going to be good for Matt Riddle getting TV time. Supposedly. Seems like Matt Riddle is going to team with Jeff Hardy against the Hurt Business. I foresee the New Day losing the tag team championships to the Hurt Business on Sunday nights. I think it's about time. The end of the road is nigh for the New Day to lose those tag team championships. Not only that, but I don't know how you could really justify or vouch for the Hurt Business to get another tag team title shot if they lose to the New Day again at TLC. And with the Matt Riddle, Jeff Hardy tease about them being another makeshift, let's put this together with fucking Gorilla Glue tag team, just seems like the Hurt Business is a natural heel duo to go up against two baby faces and not have it be the New Day. What the New Day do after this, I have no fucking idea. Merge the fucking divisions and end the brand split. End the brand split. Just get everything back to the way it used to be. Normal. Where I watch Raw and then I watch SmackDown and everything just kind of flows consistently from show to show and week to week. That's what they need more than anything right now. Hopefully you guys got that point. But Matt Riddle is funny to Vince McMahon. Funny in WWE, folks, doesn't mean he's going to be WWE champion anytime soon or ever. Funny never equated to being WWE champion. Matt Riddle comes off like a fucking geek. And for all the geeks on social media saying, oh, well, Matt Riddle did the same thing in NXT. No, it really wasn't highlighted like that in NXT. They let the difference between NXT Matt Riddle and Monday Night Raw Matt Riddle is that they let Matt Riddle be Matt Riddle. They never really over-accentuated the fucking bro. They just let bro be bro. They let bro just exist. They had him be Matt Riddle. They had him be the way he usually is in real life. Fun-loving, easygoing bro Matt Riddle. On Monday Night Raw, they take bro and they highlight it in a way which comes off demoralizing or demeaning or they're making fun of him Vince McMahon doesn't find Matt Riddle to be funny. Vince McMahon is humored by Matt Riddle because he's making fun of Matt Riddle. There's a difference. There's a difference. On NXT, when NXT was NXT, they weren't doing bro nuts or bro this or bro that or fucking bro pizza or whatever the fuck he was coming up with, right? They weren't coming up with shit that's going to be on QVC. Bro this, bro that, bro food processors. Give me a break. They do that shit because they're making fun of him. Not because they find him funny. Ha ha ha. There's a difference. Finding someone funny and making fun of them while doing it, and finding somebody funny and laughing with them. WWE isn't laughing with Matt Riddle. They're laughing at Matt Riddle. Now, I propose maybe Matt Riddle going after the United States Championship. I don't know why the fuck you're going to team him with Jeff Hardy. They're teaming him with Jeff Hardy because they fucked up and they have no tag teams. There's no tag teams. There's no tag teams on Monday night outside the New Day and the Hurt Business. So the reason why they're pairing up Jeff Hardy and Matt Riddle is because they have nobody else after this feud is over between the Hurt Business and the New Day. Where does it go after all this is over is my fucking question. I said, why not have Matt Riddle go after the United States Championship? He could bring some prestige to that championship, really make it a competitive atmosphere in that mid-card division on Monday night. I don't know why they just don't do that. They could very well do that. There is actually news that WWE may be doing that at the Royal Rumble. WWE, according to Dave Meltzer, has this contest penned and has pushed back the match to the Royal Rumble. They were going to do it at TLC, but apparently now it will take place at the Royal Rumble. Of course, keep in mind, Vince can always change his plans. WWE also teased, like I mentioned, Jeff Hardy feuding with Lashley, Jeff Hardy teaming with Bro against the Hurt Business. Riddle, Lashley, or Hardy do not have any matches set for TLC. Meltzer also reported details on the big money deal that WWE has offered Matt Riddle. They offered Matt Riddle a new multi-year contract for big money. Riddle's contract is slated to expire in August, and now the company is looking at signing him to a new deal. Meltzer reported in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter that Riddle is negotiating a new contract that would keep him under contract for several years. Meltzer noted that it's pretty much agreed to, terms-wise, for a 3-year deal at $400,000 per year guaranteed, plus $50,000 for every show in Saudi Arabia. Meltzer brought up the story about how Vince McMahon doesn't understand Riddle's gimmick, the bro gimmick, but he does love his segments and finds them to be funny. We just talked about that. Riddle signed with WWE in 2018 with just 4 years of experience in the pro wrestling business. He'd worked for Evolve, which was a developmental system for WWE, before signing with the company. Riddle defeated MVP this week on Monday Night Raw in a singles match that is of no importance whatsoever, and is not scheduled to compete at the TLC pay-per-view on Sunday. Listen, I'm never going to sit here and tell anybody what to do with their own career or their own life, but I don't know what Matt Riddle values at this stage of his career. I don't know if he's in this for the money and finds the money to be something that he could really provide for his family, or if Matt Riddle's the type of guy that wants some sort of creative freedom and wants to go and do something in this industry that he's worked so hard for. His work speaks for itself. The guy's fucking great. How WWE doesn't find this guy to be a top-tier level guy is fucking unreal to me. Instead of making fun of him and highlighting him for being a genuine, really great pro wrestler, genuine human being, they want to make fun of him and use him for entertainment purposes. I don't know what he values. I don't know what he wants to do. I would never say to anybody, you got to do this. Only you know what's best for you and your family. But I will say this, it's not going to get better for Matt Riddle. It's not. They're going to want you to sign for 5 years. You got to really think long and hard about what you want to do for 5 years. The next 5 years of your life will be given to WWE, and there's no way out. Do you want the money? The money's always going to be great. Or do you want to make a name for yourself in this business. You're not going to make a name for yourself in this business with WWE. You're not. They've already botched this guy. They've already botched Keithley. They've botched Ricochet. They're all in the same boat. We've all been expecting Ricochet to be changed. It's got to get better. It's gotten worse. This is why nobody watches NXT. This is why nobody watches NXT and nobody watches Monday Night Raw. If everybody watched NXT and then translated that to watch Monday Night Raw, we wouldn't be in this 1.5 boat anymore. Nobody's watching NXT and nobody's watching Monday Night Raw because there's no reason to watch NXT when we all know the fate of said superstars already before they get called up. Matt Riddle was a part of that camp. 5 years with this company. It's not going to get any better, bro. Matt Riddle will not be a main event WrestleMania superstar. Matt Riddle will not be winning world championships. I doubt it. They just don't see that in him. If they saw that in him, then he would already be on his way there. I'm not saying that it won't ever happen. I just don't see it happening because I know, just based on prior history and prior knowledge, that it's not going to end up working that way. Hopefully he makes the right decision for his career. Wherever he goes, there will be money. You do not need WWE to make money. I don't want to say AEW, but I think Matt Riddle in AEW is a lot better of a thought to a lot of people than him being on Monday Night Raw in WWE. The guy's nothing more than a fucking comedy act when he should be a main event level guy that is taken seriously for his genuine fucking natural charisma and his in-ring ability. Which right now we're seeing one of those things. Barely. And the other thing, he's being used for comedy purposes to make Bruce and Vince McMahon ha 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 on Monday night. All they have to do is watch Raw and get their fucking laughs. Bobby Lashley, the United States Champion. Bobby Lashley has used the United States Championship more as a prop as everybody else before him has done. Not really doing much with the United States Championship. The United States Championship has never been in a prominent role, ever. Nobody's done anything with it besides John Cena. I mentioned this time and time and time again. John Cena was the one guy that took that title to be serious. It only felt important on John Cena. Everybody else, no matter who you name me, it's not important. If it feels important, it feels important for maybe a month, and then WWE realizes that I don't give a fuck about this title. It's the same thing with the Intercontinental title. But Bobby Lashley has been protected, if you guys have not been aware. Now, in an exclusive from Ringside News, the Almighty has been protected in recent memory. He's the CEO of the Hurt Business. He's also maintained a dominating presence as the United States Champion. Ringside News has asked about the apparent protection of Bobby Lashley, specifically if he might be groomed for something bigger down the line with the way he's been protected. We were told that Lashley is seen by Vince McMahon as more of a star than others on the roster. End quote. It doesn't seem to be an instance of WWE building Lashley up for any specific angle. A lot of fans, Bobby Lashley included, would like to see him still go against Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar has not inked a new deal with the WWE, and last we've heard, that isn't happening anytime soon. Bobby Lashley is simply someone that Vince McMahon sees with star quality on Monday Night Raw. It is a good thing that WWE is keeping him strong. Champions are supposed to look strong. And Bobby Lashley is a big individual with massive presence. He's got veteran ability, and he brings legitimacy to most everything he does. Now, I don't know if WWE or Vince McMahon has ideas potentially in the next year to do Lesnar and Lashley, and the reason why he's looked so strong is because of that. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be used as a lure or a tactic to give Brock Lesnar the itch to sign again, because it's one match that we have not seen in the WWE. If I was a betting man, I would say that I don't think that's the reason why they're doing it, the main reason anyway, but I do think that it's a reason, like, A bait. Yeah, attach a bait to a fucking fish hook and you throw it in the water and, you wait for something to bite. I think that is going to be used as a little asterisk on things that, how could we really go into these negotiations with Brock Lesnar? I think that's going to be one of the things. A strong Bobby Lashley, a Bobby Lashley that's looked dominant for months. It's going to be more attractive to a Brock Lesnar than the Bobby Lashley that we seen 3 years ago. With Bobby Lashley's sisters and him fucking doing absolutely nothing on Monday night, looking like a loser. But I don't mind that Lashley's been protected. Guys like that should be protected. But even when they do protect them, they do nothing with them. And in this case, they're not doing anything with Lashley that is important. Maybe they're waiting on something, like I said, but it's also not helping the United States Championship. The title should be of equal importance to everything else. And it just has not been. Drew McIntyre's the WWE champion. We know he's the WWE champion. Why don't you put just as much effort into letting people know and letting people know why the U.S. title is important and who the United States champion is? It should be the second biggest title on your brand. And it's not. It's not. Not even close. The women's tag team titles seem more important than the United States championship. This Hurt Business run by Bobby Lashley has done him wonders. I hated Bobby Lashley's character. I thought he was boring. There was nothing special about him. He didn't look legit. I didn't get what people were talking about. I just felt that he was an eyesore on this show. Everything that he touched was worse off for it. MVP has done wonders with Bobby Lashley. Not going to level it as or label it as a Paul Heyman-esque move, but MVP has done wonders with what he's done as far as portrayal of not only himself, but what he wants to surround himself with. Mike's skill from MVP has gotten Lashley over in the eyes of everybody else, more so than what WWE Creative was doing with Bobby Lashley. And now that's rubbing off on Cedric Alexander. Shelton Benjamin is somewhere floating around out there as iffy. No Mike skill at all from Shelton Benjamin. Don't know why they ever let him speak. But Shelton, he looks great standing next to everybody else. Where he might be lacking, MVP's doing such a great job with Bobby Lashley and Cedric Alexander and himself, that's rubbing off on Shelton, and Shelton is in that group benefiting from all that. They've really done a great job with the Hurt Business. They don't feel special right now because of the formulaic way they've built this tag team title feud with the New Day. But if there's one bright spot on Monday Night Raw, that bright spot comes in the majority of the Hurt Business. They've done a great job building that group up. And putting Cedric Alexander in that group has really spotlighted a talent that was in desperate need of an opportunity. So when I sit here and I read, oh, JD shits on everything WWE, clearly you don't listen to the show enough. Potential spoiler. On Asuka's mystery partner at TLC, Lana is not expected back on Raw for several weeks. It looks like this is the plan moving forward. WWE's been building Lana up for weeks with the expectation that she will put Nia Jax through a table. Clearly, that's not happening. PW Insider reported this week that Lana is expected to be off TV for several weeks, possibly as long as 3 to 4 weeks. She was written off TV on Raw Monday after she got a pin on Nia Jax. After the match, Jax and Baszler attacked Lana. WWE posted footage on all of their platforms, with Lana being stretchered out of the building. In regards to Lana's replacement on Sunday, a photo of Charlotte Flair on Twitter has fueled speculation that she will be the one to step into the ring and team with Asuka on Sunday night. Some of her recent posts are photos that hint at her wrestling again before the end of the year. Does it make sense? Sure. The last one that I've seen on TV with Charlotte Flair right before she went away for the majority of the year was Nia Jax. Nia Jax injured Charlotte Flair to write her off of TV. So for Asuka now to sit here without a tag team partner I don't know who else would be better just based off the prior situations with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler than Charlotte Flair. Some people are saying Eva Marie. Oh, Eva Marie is set to come back. She could probably be the one to team with Asuka. Let me tell you geeks something out there. Why would Asuka, a world-acclaimed professional wrestler and your Raw Women's Champion, go out there and enlist Eva fucking Marie as her tag team partner for the tag team title match at TLC? How does that make any sense to anybody at all? I mean, you may be as dumb as Bruce Pritchard writing these fucking shows, if that is your logical guess as to who Asuka's tag team partner is. If you want to lose the match, then by all means, enlist Eva Marie. Will it be Charlotte Flair? My answer is undoubtedly yes. Not just because of the storyline, but folks, Charlotte Flair is so envious of everybody else getting spotlighted over her. Even in her absence, she watched with a grin on her face with this negative facial expression showcased. Not even Andrade would be able to take that negative reaction off of her face. Does he take the smile off of her face? Or does he put a smile on her face is what I should be asking. Who the fuck knows? Who knows? Hopefully he does. But Charlotte Flair watched from home while everybody else passed her up. Sasha and Bayley were the creme de la creme of WWE programming, universally praised by the majority of everybody with a brain. Culminating in great matches, Hell in a Cell, putting a spotlight on the tag team titles, putting a spotlight on the Raw Women's title, putting a spotlight on the SmackDown Women's title. Charlotte had to watch as all of this happened without her on TV. So what does Charlotte do? She lobbies for a plan to come back because it was reported that there were plans for Charlotte upon her return to TV. So I'm not sure if this was a plan devised up by management or if this was something that Charlotte Flair came forth with and gave it to management to really run with as she returns to TV. But it seems like Charlotte is going the same route with Asuka that Sasha and Bayley did when they were running WWE in the summer. So Charlotte's coming back to immediately get a championship because Lana is absolutely expendable. What do you want? Lana or Charlotte on TV if you're WWE? Of course you're going to want Charlotte Flair on TV. So they removed Lana from this Asuka situation, and they're giving you Charlotte Flair. So right then and there, immediately, without doing anything, she gets another championship on her resume for virtually doing nothing but sitting out all year and getting enhancements. She's got another championship on her resume, and it's all going to lead to a breakdown because Asuka and Charlotte are bitter rivals, and then you're going to go the bitter rival route. Bitter rivals holding the tag team championship, which will lead to them losing the championship to Riot Squad, I assume. I don't know who's next in line, whether it's a Riot Squad or Mandy and Dana. Who the fuck cares? Should be the Riot Squad if you ask me. They'll lose the championships to the next team in line, whoever that may be, and then Charlotte will end up taking the Raw Women's title from Asuka. So, what we learned here is that Charlotte is a jealous bitch. Charlotte cannot stand when everybody else is getting spotlighted over her. And Charlotte is picking up right where she left off. She can't be without a championship at all. She's been without a championship all this time, so she's coming back to TV, going to be gifted a championship. She's going to lose those championships with Asuka and then get the Raw Women's Championship as a consolation prize at WrestleMania. And then she's going to run with the Raw Women's Championship for God knows how long. How this is going to enhance the women's division on Monday night is the better question. Honestly, I think this is going to drive people away from the fucking product even more so. Charlotte and anybody on the main roster does absolutely nothing. She doesn't make anybody better. She doesn't make the shows better. She doesn't feel like a big deal. She feels like an absolute fucking eyesore. She's an eyesore to everything on this show. She's a detriment to anything that she's a part of and a detriment to anybody that's in the ring with her. This was the same woman that was supposed to not win the Royal Rumble, but she got jealous and didn't want to put NXT talent over. That was confirmed by the WrestleMania result when she beat Rhea Ripley and won the NXT Championship because it was the only title that they could put on her because they did everything they could with the Raw and SmackDown women's titles on Charlotte. So she took that title, she killed that and the women's division while she was down there, burying Rhea Ripley in the process, and instead of putting that talent over, she didn't even get pinned in the match that Io won the title in. And Rhea Ripley to this day is still suffering from the effects of that loss at WrestleMania. Yet I gotta hear Charlotte is the greatest of all time. She's not. She's the most overrated of all time and deserves absolutely no acclaim or respect for anything that she's been a part of. Nothing. I am not going to give praise to somebody that's weaseled themselves into a WrestleMania main event because it didn't include you. Oh, Becky and Ronda? I got to be a part of that. Oh, the Royal Rumble? I can't give it to Shayna Baszler, who was the obvious fucking winner. They gave Shayna Baszler the Elimination Chamber. What good that did. Buried her in the process. Well, Charlotte went on to bury an entire division. Fuck Charlotte Flair. Anybody that wants her back on television doesn't know jack shit about how to fix the women's division. She is not the answer. Keithley. Backstage news on the original plans for Keithley on Raw. If I told you or asked you, what do you guys think were the original plans for Keithley on Monday night? Maybe it was a one-on-one match with John Morrison. That would have been great. John Morrison versus Keithley, take my money, man. Just like we seen John Morrison on SmackDown when he was on SmackDown against Matt Riddle. Remember that match? Awesome. We all praised it. We all said it could be a future Intercontinental Championship title feud down the line. Same thing with John Morrison and Keith Lee. I see that as being a potential big-time match if they want to visit it. Maybe it was Keith Lee versus The Miz. Nobody wants to see that. What if I told you the original plan was the handicap match? You would be incorrect if you said this was the original plan. What if you said to me, JD, I thought John Morrison was the original plan? Great match. Two great wrestlers. Now, that wasn't the original plan either. Folks, the original plan, according to PW Insider, was The Miz to face Keith Lee in a singles match with The Miz going over clean over Keith Lee. At some point during the day, the decision was made for Lee to wrestle in a handicap match because they thought that him losing to two guys was better than him losing to The Miz, even though him losing to Miz and Morrison is the same effect as him losing to The Miz one-on-one. Imagine being called up to the main roster and losing to the fucking Miz. This is a guy that's had the NXT North American title, had battles with Dominik Dijakovic, battles with fucking Adam Cole, was a North American and NXT champion at the same time, the only man in NXT history in 8 years to do that. Battled Karrion Kross and took Karrion Kross to the limit at TakeOver 30. This is the same guy, right? No way. Imagine going through all that and being given the label of next big thing in WWE, only for you to be called up, and the original plans called for you on Monday night were to lose to The Miz. A guy who is a proverbial clown, a proverbial geek, a proverbial loser on WWE television. That was the plan. It was noted last week that Vince McMahon named Lee as one of the wrestlers who felt needed more to improve his in-ring work. Whether or not that affects his push remains to be seen. But Vince Russo seems to have the answer. Vince Russo, I don't really take what Vince Russo says at all. I don't know who does, seriously. But I actually agree with him in this case. Vince Russo says WWE's teaching Keith Lee a lesson. Now, he appeared on the Legion of Raw podcast. Whatever the fuck that is, I don't know. Former WWE writer Vince Russo gave his thoughts on Keithley's current condition in WWE. He said that Lee losing on Raw this week might mean that WWE is trying to teach him a lesson. What exactly does Keithley need to be taught? Better question is, what has Keithley done to anybody on the main roster? After all I hear is nothing but good things about Keithley. He says, and I quote, "Here's the fascinating thing to me, okay, bro? We read earlier in the week that Lee was sent back to NXT for training during the week, bro. So when I'm seeing Keithley get beat here, this is them taking Keithley down a few pegs. I know how it works. This guy thinks too highly of himself. Let's take him down a few pegs," end quote. Now, I do think that they're teaching him a lesson, but I don't think it has anything to do with Keith Lee. I honestly think they're teaching Keith Lee a lesson to try and teach Triple H and NXT a lesson. That's exactly what it is. They're teaching Keith Lee a lesson to get back at NXT and Triple H for the way things are run down there, for them thinking that they are on their high horse, and they're teaching Keith Lee a lesson because they are upset about how they supposedly train people down there when you got a school run by William Regal, fucking Matt Bloom, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. And apparently, according to Triple H, The Undertaker's gonna be a fucking trainer down there. But I'm supposed to believe that Bruce Pritchard doesn't like the way they do training down at the NXT Performance Center. Are you fucking mental? What exactly has Keith Lee done or said on the main roster? He's always been somebody that's been very humble, very gracious in everything he says. Doesn't worry about anything. He lets the sweat run off his fucking back. What exactly are you teaching him a lesson about? When has Keith Lee ever gave off an impression that he's on a high horse or that he's better than anybody? He's always been grateful for the opportunity that he's received. That's not the kind of vision or mentality or feel I got from watching his 24 special or hearing any words out of his fucking mouth. Bullshit. Vince Russo may be right to an extent. They're taking him down a few pegs. I don't agree with that. They're taking NXT and Triple H and all of Triple H's team down a few pegs because they feel like they are on their high horse. Keith Lee was supposed to be the next big thing, and everybody else that they called up from NXT, Ricochet and Aleister Black and everybody else that will be coming up, they bury them on the main. Shayna Baszler's the latest example in the women. They bring them up to bury them, to teach them a lesson. You think you're doing right down there. You ain't doing right down here. They will be on our show, and we will show you when and how they are successful. Their success is not going to be gauged off of what you do down in NXT, even though we all know that it should, because Triple H gets them ready for Raw and SmackDown. All Vince and Bruce have to do is take, put, and let. Let them go. Instead, they try to change and mold them into their own vision, and more than likely, they fail. Then they want to blame the talent, and then they want to blame everything else around them and everyone else around them but themselves. Man, I'm good. I know that's the reason. They're teaching Keith Lee a lesson. False. They're teaching NXT a lesson through Keith Lee. Friday Night SmackDown ratings for Friday. First episode from St. Petersburg, Florida at Tropicana Field. The episode drew 2.106 million viewers, which was up from last Friday's SmackDown episode. That did an average of 2.029. The first hour pulled in a 2.14, while hour two did a 2.07. It also pulled in an average of 0.55 ratings in the 18 to 49 demographic, which was number 2 for the night. That is up from the 0.5 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic the show did last week. Dolph Ziggler defeated Montez Ford because WWE has no tag teams and they're going the same route as Monday Night Raw. Tag team title match supposed to be the Street Profits versus Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. They have no other tag teams for these teams to feud against or wrestle on said show. So now they're doing the tag teams wrestling in singles matches situation. Sami Zayn defeated Big E via countout. Sami Zayn's got this gimmick where he is looking for any way out possible from his matches, and they've resulted in countouts. I don't see how this is necessarily making Sami Zayn look good or making the Intercontinental title look good, but here we are. The Riot Squad defeated Natalya and Billie Kay. Peyton Royce was taken away from Billie Kay because they wanted to make Peyton Royce a single star. Billie Kay was moved over to SmackDown to, I presume, give her a singles role. So they took Billie Kay away from a shitty tag team nonetheless, but a shitty tag team, and put her back in another tag team with Natalya, or seeking other tag team partners on SmackDown. I don't see how this is logical. It's almost as if they forgot what their original fucking idea was. Not that I give a fuck. Billie Kay should be a fucking valet or a manager or a mouthpiece for somebody. No reason why that woman should be in a wrestling ring. She's not even a pro wrestler. She's a cosplay pro wrestler. She's in the cosplay pro wrestling camp that Nia Jax resides in. Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura defeated Otis and Chad Gable. Imagine taking Otis away from Heavy Machinery and having him team with Chad Gable. I just don't see how anybody justifies these decisions. I really don't. Well, what is Tucker Knight doing? Where is Tucker Knight? Why is he not in a tag team with Otis, but Chad Gable is teaming? If you wanted Otis in a tag team, why didn't you just keep Heavy Machinery together? Carmella defeated Sasha Banks by DQ after referee stoppage because Sasha Banks kicked too much ass. Another one of those situations. Everybody was ranting and raving excitedly over Carmella's new entrance. Oh, it's different. Listen, if I want to see some scantily clad woman wearing dominatrix fucking attire, I'll go watch some porn bot online. I don't need to see that shit in WWE. What is so different and new about it? Well, we see the silhouette of Carmella. Yeah, we see the silhouette of Kenny Omega every time he makes his fucking entrance on AEW Dynamite as well. I didn't know silhouettes were a new thing. Like you never seen one before. You want to go watch somebody scantily clad dancing or topless? Go play Cyberpunk 2077. They'll probably be more over than Carmella. Dynamite. They declined in viewership. And in the key demo from the last 2 weeks. They remain in the top 5 on cable. They beat NXT in the ratings. AEW did decline while NXT saw a slight increase in total viewers. It was AEW that took the win this week, though, in total viewership. Won the key demo despite being down from last week's high. AEW was coming off back-to-back weeks that not only saw an increase in total viewership, but also in the key demo. Last week, AEW ranked number 2 for the night on cable. Dynamite drew 806,000 live viewers, and NXT drew 766,000 live viewers. Last week, AEW did 995, and NXT did 659,000. AEW ranked number 3 in the top 150 shows on cable. 50, 150, no difference. Number 3 is very impressive. While NXT was number 34, as in most weeks, AEW won the 18-49 demo, 0.32 to 0.19. The only demo that NXT won, as usual, is the age over 50 plus, 0.37 to 0.30. Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory. Austin Theory now part of The Way with Johnny Gargano and his wife, Candice LeRae. They defeated Kushida and Leon Ruff. Indy Hartwell also a part of that group as well. I like it. I honestly thought the way that they were building up Kushida seemed primed for him to be a one-off opponent for Finn Balor. I thought Finn Balor was going to defend the title against Kushida at the last TakeOver show. That was not the case. Seems like more so they're setting up Kushida to take on Johnny Gargano, which, again, I have absolutely no problem with. Take my money. I mean, that's a match of the year candidate right there. Hopefully we have fans in attendance for that when we do eventually get that. Theory with Gargano, I like it. I really like it. The guy was directionless. I think being with Gargano, who is beloved by everybody, is going to do wonders to Austin Theory. Leon Ruff, I got news on Leon Ruff in a second. Not impressed by Leon Ruff probably never will be impressed by Leon Ruff. Tommaso Ciampa defeated somebody that Triple H put over big time on social media this week, Tyler Rust. Not very familiar with him, but he looks pretty damn good. Got a great look, and I'm very interested to see what they do with him moving forward. That's exactly what this show needs. More talent. Top-tier talent. Guys that are going to be given an opportunity. So Tommaso Ciampa beat him. Cross squashed some jobber. He's back. Shotzi defeated Indy Hartwell via DQ. Kyle O'Reilly defeated Pete Dunne in a great match to become the number one contender for Finn Balor in the NXT title. That match will happen on New Year's Eve. I'm assuming that Finn Balor retains, and we get Finn Balor and Karrion Kross, Devil versus Demon, happening at the next TakeOver show, which I assume is happening in February. And Toni Storm defeated Rhea Ripley, which was a rematch of an NXT UK Women's Championship match. I believe Toni Storm was the one to take the title off of Rhea Ripley when she won that title. And Rhea Ripley's downfall continues, or the way I look at it, continuing to put everybody else around her over before they demote her to the main roster. NXT was not really all that well this week, but neither was Dynamite. Dynamite saw Kenny Omega defeating Joey Janela. We got the match announcement for December 30th. Rey Fenix will challenge Kenny Omega for the AEW title. The Inner Circle defeated the Best Friends and their friends in a big 12-man tag. It is what it is. Not a real big fan of that. Serena Deeb and Big Swole defeated Ivelisse and Diamante. The Acclaimed defeated SCU. Hangman Page and the Dark Order defeated Matt Hardy and Private Party. And Cody Rhodes defeated Angelico, with Sting coming out and running off the Team Taz faction. Triple H reportedly has put a team together for a new NXT show. This is very interesting to me, and something that I will be keeping a close eye on. Dave Meltzer reported in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter that WWE executives have been going through the budgets to try and find a way to implement some type of a show that would get more NXT talent, ring time, and exposure. They aren't going to do house shows, but they may add something in some form. Wrestling Inc. reports that Triple H has created a team to oversee the new NXT show. The idea is that it would be a minor league system for NXT, which was the same thing Evolve was doing for NXT. So they're pretty much bringing back the Evolve concept. Where this happens, when it happens, we don't know. But that's what Evolve was doing for years for NXT before it got shut down due to COVID-19. Now, ironically, Gabe Sapolsky, who was the head booker of Evolve, will be leading this team. So they closed up shop. They bought the Evolve name. They bought all the content, bought out all the talent to bring them to NXT. And now they're just opening up another Evolve. They're just opening up another Evolve with the same guy who was in charge of the old Evolve for the new Evolve. He will be leading the team as he has been given several agents and writers to help him get more comfortable with writing television. Sapolsky had been working for NXT before Evolve went out of business. It was noted that Triple H is a big believer in Gabe, and this is a case of the game giving him the ball. The idea for the show was described as an NXT for NXT. WWE originally thought that this would be another promotion to run smaller markets that NXT did before the pandemic, mostly in Florida. The pandemic has changed the way WWE will tour, as they will scale way back on running these house shows in the post-pandemic era. Thus, this will just be a television show. WWE originally planned for the show to launch early next year, but that has been delayed, and this will likely be pushed back again. Now, this is not WWE starting up an NXT India. Okay, that's a completely separate story. If you guys read about that, WWE is opening up an NXT India. They're opening up another NXT promotion in India. Or Jinder Mahal's name potentially being a part of that, holding a big 8-man tournament with him potentially winning that and being the face of that NXT. Whatever. Get him away from Raw. Get him away from SmackDown. Because I threw it out there, and God forbid it actually happens, that he comes back, wins the Royal Rumble, and he goes up against Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. Please, God, help our souls if that happens. Not really the change that I envision coming from WWE. But if this is the case, this is excellent news. I don't want anybody out there to start using AEW effect. I don't want anybody to think that this is Triple H counter-programming AEW in any way. This has nothing to do with NXT. Nothing. This has everything to do with all of the talent that Triple H had given contracts to coming out of Evolve. Everybody that's been in the Performance Center, training daily, weekly, week in and week out, that have not been given a role on TV because WWE needs to save their primed and ready talent for TV because they're in a direct competition with AEW. They can't be putting on nameless faces and nobody knows. To combat AEW, they need major storylines, they need major angles, they need major risks in the form of, we got to get people who people somewhat know on this show to combat AEW. If they start putting half of the show with prime talent, half of the show with developmental talent, then they're not going to come off good in the eyes of combating AEW. It's going to come off more like a developmental system. Oh, look at this developmental system failing against AEW. Triple H doesn't want NXT to be labeled as a developmental system, because it's not. Half of the men and women on that show can either A, be on the main roster, and B, rival anything that the main roster does. So it's not a developmental system. The show we see on Wednesday night is not a developmental system. This will be a developmental system. You can't give the main show that stigma while they're in competition with AEW. This is for the Rick Bugenhagens. This is for the Brandy Lawrence. This is for all of those, the Joe Gacy's, and everybody else that they signed from Evolve who want to be on TV, that want an opportunity to show what they're made of and show what they can do, but can't because it's not right. So this show is going to get them ready for NXT. This is going to be the NXT for NXT. This is going to be what NXT is for the main roster. That's exactly what it's going to be. And if we're lucky, it's not going to be on a USA or a major network, an FS1 or anything like that. It will be genuine, heartfelt, and be given that true old NXT feel on the WWE network at 1 hour. And we can watch it leisurely at our own time whenever we want. And we don't need to bombard ourselves with even more wrestling content. The reason why I fell in love with NXT is because I got to see people grow. And I got to see people care. The more we watch, the more we realize that the more we care, the more they fail. Because there's no future for them in Vince McMahon's hands. At least with this, you get to see people grow. The one thing I value most in watching these shows, and the one thing I valued most about NXT is watching people develop and watching people grow. If you could become a fan of one of these new up-and-coming men and women on a show like this, then that's the best thing you could possibly get out of watching a pro wrestling show. That's just me. I think this is a great idea. If it's on the WWE Network and given that genuine feel, you get a thumbs up of approval from me. Really. I think that's a great move by Triple H. Backstage news on plans for Melina. They were scrapped, and they included NXT. Now, this is coming from PWTorch.com. In a Twitter exchange back in July, Melina accepted an invitation to join the Robert Stone brand. We haven't seen Robert Stone on TV at all. Now, Johnny Fairplay at PWTorch.com says that he hung out with Robert Stone a couple of weeks ago, and there were plans for Melina to join him in the Robert Stone brand. Fairplay said that Stone told him 2 weeks ago that it was his idea to manage Melina in NXT, and apparently she had to go get surgery, so those plans were scrapped. He says, and I quote, "I hung out with Robbie E 2 weeks ago, and he has no idea what he's going to do. His plan was to bring in Melina and manage her in NXT. She had to have surgery or something, so they're not using the guy." End quote. Melina left the WWE in 2011. She got back on the company's radar. She appeared at the Raw reunion show in 2019. No word on if there are any plans for Melina to return to Monday night or WWE in general. I say Monday night because that's where we all pegged her to go. Because pairing her back with John Morrison, having Morrison leave The Miz, which is probably the best thing for his career, to be paired with Melina and go on a singles run, that's what I think needs to happen. That's what I think we all need to see from Johnny Mundo. Johnny Impact. John Morrison is a clown. Melina back in NXT, I probably would have been a little bit more open to it if she was on NXT than the main roster. But I don't know if those plans are still in place. Who knows what the surgery was? There was no news on what the surgery was, how long she'll be out from said surgery. We don't know. But all she did was blast a Meltzer and Alvarez, and she blasted Mike Johnson over at PW Insider because of lies. How dare you promote something and report something that is absolutely not true? Meanwhile, these are paying fucking sites. You got to pay for these sites, so they're not going to ask of you to pay them, and they're not going to give you a fucking real, full information, right? You better be paying these fucking people to get news like that. Why would they put it behind a paywall if it wasn't true to ruin their own fucking reputation? Give me a break. It's not like some fucking E-Wrestling News, NEWZ at the end is reporting it. Give me a break. She'd return to NXT, I'd be a little bit more open to it. If they split Morrison from Miz and put him back with Melina, I'd be open to it. But putting her back on the main roster like they did Mickie James and doing nothing with her, nobody gives a fuck about that. She'll be dead in 3 weeks. That's probably the best news for her upon return to the WWE. Backstage news on Leon Ruff, why he was booked to win the North American title. On the Wrestling Observer forums, Meltzer talked about this. There was a discussion about Ruff's short title reign. Somebody asked why they decided to treat the belt as a joke for a few weeks when NXT has been good at making sure that their titles meant something. Dave Meltzer chimed in with this, and I quote, "Somebody in creative thought it was funny," end quote. Now, Leon Ruff is a regular character on NXT, and the NXT title win, I guess, elevated him if you really want to go that route and really offer that opinion to somebody. I don't think it really elevated him at all. In fact, it killed the NXT North American Championship vibe and momentum and the consistency that that title held in NXT. Now, with Leon Ruff, somebody thought it was funny. Who thought that was funny? My money is on Road Dogg, D-O-double-G. Oh, you didn't know? Guarantee you it was Road Dogg. Somebody thought it was funny. Oh, let's put the title on this small guy. Everybody would get a crack out of it. This is why something changed in NXT. You got mentalities like that running ship, and that's the product that they are regurgitating back to us. Somebody thought it was funny. Let me tell you something, BG. Let me tell you something, BG James. You fucking geek. D-O-double-G, dog. Let me tell you something, dog. NXT isn't to be joked around with. You're getting embarrassed every single week on Wednesday nights by AEW, the t-shirt company. Yeah, you want to be over here making fucking light of the North American Championship, which was the second biggest championship on this brand. More importantly, it held more prestige than most of the titles on the main roster. You want to come on in and have a fucking good-ass time. You want to make light of everything. This is not to be joked around with. That was for Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, not on Wednesday nights. This is why I would not be shy. This is me dipping into my fucking conspiracy bag. Is Road Dogg a main roster plant to fuck things up down there? Yeah, he may be buddy-buddy with Triple H and Shawn Michaels, but, I mean, my God, where did he learn all of his ideals from as a creative writer and a producer? He didn't learn them from Shawn Michaels. He didn't learn them from Triple H. Oh, that's right, he learned them from Vince McMahon. That's where he learned them from. Guarantee you it was Vince McMahon who taught Dogg everything, and it was Dogg who made this decision. Pitched it to Triple H, they found it was funny, and they went along with it. Leon Ruff is terrible. Leon Ruff is the epitome of what NXT should not be putting on TV. And I'll keep saying that every time I have a microphone and a camera in my face. And finally, guys, Mauro Ranallo, the best commentator in the history right now. Mauro Ranallo reveals he would do pro wrestling commentary again. He spoke with Post Wrestling. Ranallo was asked if he would return to wrestling in the wrestling business. He didn't rule out anything, but did say it would have to be on his terms, and he doesn't want to deal with the WWE schedule. This is the quote that he gave to Post Wrestling, and I quote, "Will I go back to wrestling? I definitely would like to do that. It has to be on my terms. I'm not going to be a prima donna or anything, but I need to work with people that respect me, trust me, and I will defer to my levels of experience. I'm easy to work with, but at this stage of my life, I need to be happy and comfortable. Pro wrestling at the best times is taxing on your mental health, and it's just the nature of the business. I'm not interested in going back to that type of rigorous schedule with WWE. I would love to call professional wrestling, but still, I am glad that there are so many promotions. I mean, AEW has been a win-win-win for them. Like the Monday Night Wars, I believe competition in every sense of the word should bring out the best in anyone. I'm just grateful that there's many more paying opportunities for the workers, so never say never, John Pollock, the host of Post Wrestling. Mauro worked as a commentator on SmackDown for 2016, briefly before making the transition to NXT. He also worked in boxing, MMA, kickboxing, as well as commentating New Japan Pro Wrestling before going to the WWE. I will say this, he's still the best voice in all of pro wrestling right now, the best voice in all of commentary right now. He may not go back to NXT. Mauro leaving NXT has not felt the same. I cannot even begin to tell you the feel that he gave NXT and what is missing without his voice simply being there. They are not the same. They will never be the same with Vic Joseph and Wade Barrett. I'm sorry. And that's for the worse. If Mauro wants to get back into pro wrestling, he said, I want to be with somebody that's respectful of me, that respects me, trusts me, and will defer to my levels of experience. Sounds like AEW to me. Doesn't AEW have a second show coming on TNT? Doesn't Tony Khan go out there and really hype up what's going on? He came out weeks ago, says, I have a couple of aces up my sleeve, and you don't know who I'm potentially talking to. This was right before the unveiling of Sting with the Winter is Coming concept. Who else is Tony Khan talking to? We made mentions of Mauro. We made mentions of CM Punk. We made mentions of Tessa Blanchard. Punk may be a long shot, though I do think Tony Khan has Punk in his back pocket. Tessa might be out there, but she probably will end up with NXT. But Mauro is something I could absolutely see happening as well. If you're going to differentiate the shows, on Saturday, I believe, is where they're going to put this thing. And Wednesday, you don't want the same commentary team that you see on Wednesday doing Saturday. You're going to get somebody with more experience that's got his own show to handle, to give that show his own feel. Tony Schiavone, I don't want to see Tony do another show. Tony's good on Wednesdays. Tony's all over Wednesday night. You don't want to see Jim Ross do double duty. He's old. He needs to be on Wednesday night. Excalibur, I've had enough of Excalibur on Wednesday night. Maybe you do Mauro Ranallo on Saturday night and give that show its own vibe. Do I see it happening? I don't know. Could I see it happening? Absolutely. Would I like to see it happen? You want to differentiate AEW from NXT and WWE, that's the move you make. You talk about big money moves, bringing in Sting is a big money move. Getting a CM Punk is a big money move. Getting Mauro Ranallo is just as big as bringing in a Sting and bringing in a CM Punk. That is a big money move. The show on Saturday night, that I presume will be on Saturday night, because I just think that they're going to go the old school WCW Saturday night route with AEW Saturday night on TNT. You want to differentiate that show from Wednesday night? The one way you could do that without even blinking an eye is Mauro Ranallo. Do I see him back in pro wrestling? Absolutely. Guys, I'm getting out of here. Thank you so very much for all of your support. Thank you for tuning in to the podcast this weekend. Let me know what you think of everything down below. Follow me on Twitter at JD from NY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. If you have not subscribed, please think about doing so. I will be live on Saturday. Saturday now, motherfucker. Sunday night. I will be live on Sunday night. Talking TLC live on YouTube. Make sure you guys tune into that. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Mouthmasker.com/OTS. Bonfire.com for all your exclusive t-shirts for the Off the Script brand, and Ridge.com/script. Use code SCRIPT at checkout. Guys, I am so happy to bring this to you every single week. We are winding down on another arduous year of Off the Script. Really worked my ass off this year. Some of the best episodes of the entire podcast happened this year. And it's thanks to you guys, man. Hit that thumbs up. And we got a couple more shows before we round out 2020 and begin a brand new year of Off the Script. Hit that thumbs up. I'll see you guys on Sunday night for TLC, and I'll be back here for a great episode, another episode of OTS episode 357. Until then, guys, have a great Saturday. I'll see you live on Sunday for TLC, and I'll see you back next week with a brand new week of content. See you guys later.